can you just kind of walk us through first? We touched on it a bit, so just quickly the WipFrag and the MailFrag technology, and then move on to Momentum and Solo, and just sort of give the audience an idea of what those are. We'll show pictures up on the screen for them, and so they can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the early stuff was there was quite a manual component to it. You had the software, you took the pictures, you did the analysis, it gave you the results. When you start to get in more automated settings, it required a lot more automation and robotics and everything else, sensing devices. So you'd know when the truck was there, you'd know, various things. People come to us also with industry problems, and we love that. We love that. I have such a talented group here that they just love solving problems, And if you come to us and say, look, we're getting a lot of contamination, or we're getting this, or we're getting that, or we need something to at least warn us when we're off spec or off standard. Or maybe even divert material that's waste instead of ore. We can do that. I mean, we have all kinds of techniques that we can employ. We do coloration, we do volumetrics, we do densities, we do a whole bunch of different things. So, but when you start coming up with a totally automated solution, and it has to operate in climates around the world. I mean, it could be 20 below, or it could be 40 above. It could be dusty. It could be, there's all kinds of things. So we have to build these things that'll meet all the electrical standards of these countries. And to withstand and operate under some pretty severe environments. And so this is why we start to create all these others. We created Momentum, where you could take and you could put monitoring spots on conveyors throughout your whole operation and feed it all back to one place. And that was an early unit. It was fairly easy. We introduced a Solo unit, we called it. It's completely self-contained, and I could actually put it on a conveyor belt during coffee break. Okay, so like all
I was seeing the pictures. It looked very straightforward, actually.
Like when you put the traditional technology and you had to run fiber optics maybe, and you had to have electricians and everything else. All we need with the Solo unit is a electrical outlet, a power supply. And we can come in, shut that conveyor down, go have coffee. By the time you come back, it's operational. And again, we're getting to the point where we don't want to reduce people's production time. You know, if you've got to be climbing over conveyors and doing all kinds of things, you're stopping their production. So we made Solo so you wouldn't have to do that. And outfits, actually, they would buy it. They would buy one unit, and it's so portable. They'd monitor material at certain locations, and they'd move it somewhere else, and maybe even a different site. And then they found out that it's so useful that let's just leave it here and buy another one.
Right. Yeah.
and that's the way it evolves,
Yeah. And they're attaching onto, you're attaching them onto vehicles and everything, right? Is reflex a different thing? Because I noticed the vehicle analysis, Solo and Momentum both go under the conveyor analysis, but on the vehicle analysis, there's Momentum and reflex. Could you outline what reflex is? Yeah, reflex is a unit that we usually set up at a primary crusher. Okay. So after the blast, all the material from the blast gets loaded onto trucks. We had tried it at various times to kind of monitor the material when they were putting it on the truck on a shovel and that, but Right.
it's a very difficult application there because it's dusty, it's dirty. The lighting is continuously variable. There's vibration. It's just not a very good spot to be, taking samples.
Mm-hmm.
We prefer instead that you load the material onto a truck. When that truck shows up at the primary crusher, we measure it as it ravels out of the truck. We not only see the surface of it, but we see each layer as it's going into the crusher. We know what that truck is, where that truck came from, and really when you want to do blast optimization, all you do is take all those trucks from that blast and merge it together, and theoretically you see every particle that was generated in that blast.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
the industry's never been able to do that before. That was just, that's the Cadillac. That's the one you really want. Today, the explosives has come such a long way. So, there's so much innovation in not only explosives technology, but timing, detonators. There's so many things you can do, but some of the changes are so subtle that this is the best way to capture it, to actually see if you're improving the blast or not. So that's reflex. We've put that out for quite a while. That can also be used. The similar technology like that can be used if you're loading rail cars or you're loading ships. It just goes on and on because it's so useful.